Stay with us.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio.
All right, a beautiful Monday morning to you, listeners. This is welcoming you to this morning newspaper review on Good Governance Radio. It is the 24th day in the month of June 2021, and we are super excited to be here this morning to take you on the roller coaster of what is happening, what is making headlines on some of our dailies this morning. This morning we have four newspapers here with us. But before we go into reviewing some of the headlines here, let me quickly introduce myself. My name is Chris Bassi, and this morning I'm being joined by...
My name is Tony Ayodele. Welcome to the group this morning.
All right, this morning we have charity, they say, begins at home. So we have the new National Star, that is our in-house newspaper, and that's where we're going to start the review. Nigerians lament rising food prices as NBS says food inflation declining. Ohaneze orders attack Kumayi for saying Southeast not marginalized. And the bold headlines on the new National Star has this one Tinubu under pressure to back Osibanjo for 2023. Female students group vows to prosecute Randy lecturers in our institution. Man to appear in court for killing wife in hospital. ASU threatens strike over non-payment of members' salaries. And down here, still on the new National Star, Afenifere Ohaneze opposed reopening of grazing routes by FG. What I witnessed at TB Joshua's side for 15 years, who's saying that Latif Giwa. And the final headlines on the new National Star has this one: kidnappers using KB students as human shields. That's coming from the principal of the school. Tony.
All right. On this day today, the headlines have it. We have a lot of stories there. In Kebbi, 10 rescued, scores still missing, hunters join battle. And the bold headlines there is Nadeko writes Buhari on insecurity, insists on abrogation of 1999 constitution, with the rider seeks suspension of election until new good norms is promulgated. Urge UN to intervene in resolving crisis in Nigeria. Court assemblies move to release cases, bills stalled by workers' strike. Again, Afenifere on Ahineze, Pandef PDF tackles federal government over restructuring. And on the top of Mark's government, operators move to end $2 billion aircraft maintenance capital flight with the rider initiative to help Nigerian conserve forests. I think that is that for this day, this morning.
Okay, let's come back to the Vanguard newspaper where we have the biggest headlines on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper that says, nothing to restructure, you are wrong. With so many riders, South governors can Afenifere, MBF, Pandef told Buhari, restructuring will save Nigeria. South governors, restructuring can't be at Buhari's pleasure. Afenifere, you indicted yourself and APC. Pandef tells Buhari, he's telling Nigerians not to take his statement serious in future. Can, those seeking restructuring are patriot. MBF. Right, you can read details of that story on the page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And still staying with the Vanguard newspaper, Nigeria sliding into instability under your watch. Nadeko tells Buhari, Buhari has no plans to increase price of cement. That's according to the management of Buhari Group. Stop quest to reopen grazing routes. Governors of Afenifere Ohaneze, Pandef, MBF can tell FG, and reps seek to abolish by-election. Students abduction, Kebbi shot 7 schools indefinitely. 14 bandits kills, many injured as police repel attack on Katsinala police station. 15 Tangier victims escape as abductor got drunk. Slip off in Niger. That's bizarre one right there. This one says crisis looms in universities over plan to remove staff school workers in 2022 budget. The final one has this one. 2021 UTME jammed the list 25 CBT centers for poor performance. Details of all of these stories can be found on pages of the Vanguard newspaper.
And on the blueprint this morning, we have Egbin Power Power PLC moves to raise generation to 3,000 megawatt. How I survived sickle cell disorder to raise family. That's an accountant saying that 29 bandits killed in Benue, Niger got gunfire. Nigerian better today, according to Buhari. And on the bold headlines, why Kebbi choose not to negotiate with bandits, with about 3 riders saying security agents give hoodlums bloody nose, kill 82, rescue 11. I am elected to serve, not to sit in government house. Watch my people suffer. Bagudu. Residents express satisfaction with security agents' response. And also, federal government ceasefire on El-Rufai Labour Southeast crisis. Serving Niger senator tip for APC chairman. Featured killer of Badejo Oyo NJ tax Makinde. Well, this one is a sad one. Designer of 1004 flat housing estate dies. I think that is all we have on Blueprint this morning.
All right, quickly, let's take a few sports headlines before we go for a short break. And this one says, international friendly, Mexico calls up strong squad for Eagles as Napoli, Atletico Madrid, Ajax stars top list. And this one says, Tokyo 2020 Olympics trials, Nigeria 4x100 meters quartet, improve on rating. And giving you results of matches that we played yesterday in the Euros and Nigerian Professional Football League. We have Dakar FC, 1 Rangers 1, Enyimba 0, Nasarawa United 0, Ifeanyi 2, Heartland 1, Jigawa 1, Kano Pilar 0, Lobby Stars 2, Kwara United 0, Plateau United 2, Warri Wolves 0, Rivers United 1, Katsina United 0, and Sunshine Stars 1, Abia Warriors. Sunshine Stars 2, I beg your pardon, and Abia Warriors 1. Then in Euros, Italy defeated Wales by 1-0, and Switzerland defeated Turkey by 3-0. Fixtures for today in the Euros: North Macedonia will take on Netherlands, Ukraine will take on Austria, Finland will trade tackle with Belgium, and Russia will lock on with Denmark. Those are some of the sports headlines on our daily list this morning. All right, we're going for a short break, and when we come, I will go straight into the topical issue for today on the Good Governance Radio. We urge you to please join conversation with us on 0913-023-6602. You can also stream live on our website at www.ggr.com.ng. And of course, our YouTube channel is at Good Governance Radio. You can also follow proceedings from our live studio here on our official Facebook page at Good Governance Radio. Please stay with us as we go for this short break. We'll be back in just a moment.
Check your systems are offline. This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us. listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
Glad to have you rejoin us this morning on Good Governance Radio. We are at about that time where we bring to you, the topical issues that, of course, the analysis of some of the major headlines as we've read them across to you this morning on our newspaper review. And this is what is definitely, catching our fancy this morning, talking about major talking points this morning on the show has to do with restructuring. This particular agitation has not really come to an end. A lot of interest groups are still insisting on restructuring, and I will be taking details of the story. The reaction of some of these interest groups. Then I will go to Mr. Tony Ayodele, who is right here in the studio, to give us insights on his take on the issue of restructuring. All right, nothing to restructure, that's coming from the presidency, but then so many people are saying you're wrong. South governors are saying he's wrong. Afenifere are saying he's wrong. And let's quickly take some of their assertion on this. South governors, the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, and a host of regional and ethnic-based organizations yesterday disagreed with President Muhammadu Buhari over his comments that there is nothing to restructure in Nigeria. According to the governors and leaders of CAN, Afenifere Middle Belt Forum, and Pan Niger Delta Forum PANDEF, Nigeria's federalism, security, architecture, and revenue sharing formula, among others, need to be restructured to serve the country rather dismembering it. President Buhari, who was represented as a special guest of honor by Executive Secretary of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission, Alhaji Mohammed Bello Shehu, at the launch of the Kudirat Abiola Sabongari Peace Foundation in Zaria, Kaduna State, said advocates of restructuring secession are dangerous and naive. In their reaction, South Governors Forum, reacting to the president position,
Computer systems are offline. This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
All right, we want to sincerely apologize for that. H is right there, and we're still taking reaction from the some of the social cultural group, and reacting to the restructuring calls from the or rejection from the federal government. Chairman of South Governors Forum, Dr. Ifeanyi Okowa, who spoke through his chief.
Computer systems are offline. This is the Good Governance Radio. GGR. Stay with us. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us.
Your online radio. The new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio.
All right, we want to sincerely apologize for that technical itch or human itch, rather. We're back here and we are still in our second segment of the morning show, talking about the newspaper review and analysis of topical issues that appear on most of our dailies this morning. All right, before we move ahead, the Red Cap Chief is here, maybe. He would definitely give us something to spice up this morning, because I've actually been struggling. My throat and, I've been choking back to back. Mr. Bele, did you come with cola nuts so that maybe let me just chew it and clear my throat?
Unfortunately, I walked in between. I would have inquired where you were over the weekend, so that the council will be sure that you didn't step into certain altars. But that will be for another day.
Okay.
Basi, you be doing. Don't worry. I know when proverbially when a huge amount of money is on the way, it's either your palms are scratching or your throat is scratching. Scratching.
Okay. Okay. I just hope that one of those mentioned is coming. All right, Tony, let's go to details of this restructuring to different group, to different people. There is one thing that they definitely want to be restructured. Some are saying the revenue sharing is what my restructuring is all about. Some are saying the security architecture requires or is what is needed to be restructured. When it's come to restructure, it seems there are so many opinions and so many perception towards this. What do you make? What do you personally see as what should be restructured?
What? Well, if I want to have says on the comments or reactions from different groups in respect of what the representative of the president said in Zaria yesterday. You see, this issue of restructuring has been on the forefront since 1999. But again, a lot of different groups has a different opinion about what needs to be restructured. That is why, at times when people are having different mindset, maybe on that background, that's why the president was saying there's nothing to be restructured, because people are just mentioning many things to be restructured. And in a nation of ours, who do you want to satisfy? Who do you want to please? Truly, there is a need to restructure this our country, but we must start from a particular areas. One, if all the groups are looking at one direction and say, first, let us talk about the security, then we have something to talk about. That the first thing to restructure in this Nigeria should be our security apparatus, where people are clamoring for state policing. They are there. Also, if it is only two in the last 8 years of the President Buhari, or since 1999, where we have this issue of national conference on talking about the constitution, this and that, then I believe that we'll have a focus. But when different groups are coming from different angles with different issues or their opinion about restructuring, then we will be all confused. Because if A is talking about security and the other group are talking about the sharing formula, while others are talking about power sharing, so we found out that where are we going to start from? So based on that, I believe if the whole groups can come up with maybe 3-point agenda of what is very urgent that will make this nation to move forward, then maybe from there we can start talking about restructuring. And like you rightly know that the constitution is also being working on to give us another phase. So I believe that their own opinion, yes, all those areas that have been mentioned, we need to restructure them. But at least we can't do everything at the same time, so that we can able to have solution to some of these problems. That is my own opinion.
Mr. Bello, the president, during his campaign, I think that was the build up to 2015 election.
Yes,
I did talk about the need to restructure Nigeria, but now I think it seems to have a different view to that particular session a few years ago. What has changed? And when it comes to restructure, what do you make of the various demands? And should we say this is just some sort of selfish demand, or is it for national interest?
National interest, national interest. You see, I think we have the most vulnerable electorates in the whole wide world, where anybody can come up. I'm going to deviate a little. One day, somebody came to me in my constituency and was talking about giving him a vote. I said, the last time I remember, in 1999, we conducted the election here with a generator. You promised me power supply. 2003, you came again and promised me steady power supply, and we conducted another election with generator. 2007, 2011, and it continued till now. My people say you have to be careful when you demand clothes from a naked man, or when you get angry that a naked man didn't give you clothes. We have been on this program. There was a particular day here, we hammered on it. Tony was here, you were here, and we said, let the governors start from what we call internal or fundamental restructuring. You and I grew up in a functional local government system. I still remember those days, the likes of Ike Furemadu, who passed through as source administrators of our local government and all that. They were seen as the immediate governors we saw. Today, we have seen a system that have destroyed the local government system. It has become non-functional. Meanwhile, we still have allocations being budgeted, being channels to this local government, being pocketed by the state governors. We talked on this program that if we have a functional local government system, the security system, challenges will not be as bad as this, because they will be functioning with the traditional rulers. What am I talking about? Going to the heart of the question now. Just like Tony said, what exactly are we restructuring? Many are focusing on what do you call it now? Revenue sharing, that we want to go back to the true federalism. And that's why a lot of people are calling for the 1963 Constitution, which represents the image of a federal system of government. And if that is the case, are we hearing the voices of the Niger Delta, where the major resources are coming from, saying, okay, specifically what we want in this restructuring is for the resource control system, where everybody will go back, generate their revenue, and pay certain amount to the federal government? Or are we talking about the security system, where we are now saying, okay, we are not ripe for state police, because we are afraid that if we constitute the state police system in Nigeria today, the state governors, the same way they destroy the local government system, they would hijack the state police system and now make it a partisan mechanism or apparatus. So what exactly, however, in the hearing or to the hearing of every Nigerian, if you say anything contrary to restructuring, you will be like an enemy of the country. But I will start this conversation by asking, can somebody tell me exactly what a specific group is asking for in terms of restructuring? Maybe we take it from there.
Let me just also add to what Ebele just said. Something that is quite well known to us is that when during the APC, when PDP was in government, the campaign of the APC was change. What do you want to change? They want to change a lot of things. But now they are in power now. And what have they changed? But the truth of the matter is this. The stakeholders need to come up with an agenda, with one way, one thing that this region. Let's talk about, when we're talking about regional axing or group, like Afenifere, they're talking of their own side of what they want to be restructured. The Ohanese are also talking about their own. The Pandef is talking about their own. They can. You see, at times when I listen to Khan's submission on some of these things, I wonder what they are also looking about. Because it's an association of a Christian body. They ought to look like a spiritual leaders.
Of course.
I might be wrong, but I think Ebele is what they call a refined red captive with a Christian. But you see, I look at Khan. Yes, I look at them as an association that to be like a spiritual leader. That if there are issues in the country, they go into prayer and advise the nation.
Not taking sides.
Not taking sides. But they are also now looking at a pressure group, in the sense that trying to also say, this is what we want, this is what Nigeria needs. But some of these leaders are members of that church. What did you preach to them? What did you tell them when they come to the service or when they come to worship? That is where their message is supposed to pass to them. But I believe that because everybody wants to talk, and believe his talk is cheap, that is why you find out that everybody will just come up. But my own belief is that Nigeria needs to be restructured. But where should we start from? What is the important need for all those things? People are looking at it that, well, when we have regional government, when the North having their granite pyramid and all this stuff, and everybody's developing its own region. But the number of states now is 36 plus FCT. So, but my belief is that when we are talking about restructuring, security is very important. But when you give, like Ebele said, the governors, now they are now setting up state security apparatus, Amotekun and all this stuff, which later metaphors into a kind of a governor's control, because it's now being controlled by the governors.
Exactly. And
by the time it's found out that they are now empowered, the federal government police will not be weakened. So once these people are now being given the power, giving them this, you find out that during the election now, you find out that they'll say, okay, let the Amotekun also guide the polling booth, ballot paper and polling booth. So a lot of on whose interest are all these. Our politicians, to some extent, they are all looking for an avenue where they want to have a control all over things and make us to be like a slave. Because I've not seen most of the governors, the National Assembly members, the State Assembly members, they are not even looking at the areas, the laws that will affect the common man on the street.
All right. Thank you very much, Ebele and Tony, for your incisive analysis on this. And, you know, a lot of Nigerians will still want to hold the presidency, the president himself, you know, to the statement that he made. But then when you look at the consultation that is ongoing in terms of the constitution review and all of that, will you just, spare the president of some blushes, at least that he has done something that if there's anything that is to be restructured, I think the constitution first need to, be worked on, and a lot of things need to be amended in our constitution. Do you see that as, a huge measure in restructuring?
Chris, some people are not even talking about amending the constitution. They're asking for a brand new constitution. So these are the different things now, because some group of people are saying we want a new constitution. Some people are saying no, we need to amend.
Because the word restructuring, actually means that there's something in existence and you want to, adjust, to amend, and to reposition. That's what the restructuring, not a total scrapping of an existing, mechanism.
Permit me to keep responding with what I call prodigal opinion on this. You see, just like when we were talking about the police, and we're saying that in as much as we're saying NSAS, bring SWAT or whatever, nobody was talking about the willpower to obey the existing constitution, even if it was not properly crafted. For instance, you go to the police station and you will see it boldly written, bail is free. Yet over civic issues, people say, this one tell this one you stupid, the other one say you stupid. They are not going to leave that station until they pay at least 5,000 naira.
No, somebody must first be detained.
Somebody must be detained. Then if his uncle or his brother will come and bail him. Then what I'm trying to say is that we already have plenty of laws, even the ones we can say, okay, even though the 1999 Constitution does not represent we or the reframe of a democracy, but there are sections that we have vehemently refused to obey. And I'm beginning to think, in this new call for restructuring, what are we going to do differently? Because had it been that we say in law that he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. Now, if we have done what we are supposed to do in terms of obeying the existing laws, and we're now saying, okay, there is a lacuna here. For instance, in Kogi State, when Audru died, it has never happened in the history, in our electoral history. It became a lacuna. People were trying to interpret it from all angles, until we now say, okay, Bello should come in. We know how the mathematics went on. Now, they exhausted every available experiences and references, and there was nothing left. Have we been obeying the sections that where we don't have lacunas? And coming back to what Tony said, I don't know why we have been seriously beclouded by religion. Do you know that in Nigeria, the religion and the tradition, they are stronger than the constitution? And for once, I'm making reference to what Tony said. Is it a CAN now or PFN?
CAN
brought an issue that should be looked into. Why do we have reference and a section of a whole constitution that respects, gives provision for Sharia law, and we have none for the Christian section? Ese Oruru from Bayelsa State was taken or dragged by a young man from Kano State, took her to Kano State under Sharia law. There was nothing wrong. The year of consent in Nigeria is 18. But here, if you sleep with a minor, like we have Babi Ijesha now in prison because he molested a 14-year-old girl, if Babi Ijesha is a Muslim and that incident took place in Katsina or in Zamfara, he will be a free man. What kind of country are we running? And I'm coming back to that question. What are we actually restructuring here? And I agree with him again that I think if we are now saying we want a brand new Nigeria, we must demand a brand new constitution. I'm not contradicting myself here. Yes, I agree that something will be raised. We are just bringing the points now. Is it the constitution based on the religion or the traditional aspect? Okay, the president said that there are grazing routes. Falana is responding back to him that, hey, there were grazing routes in the north, not in the south. Maybe we should start by restructuring our response and interpretation to the Nigerian constitution so that we now know whether we need a new one or whether we have to amend the present one. Because going back to the question you asked me before, everything was just a mantra. We're going to change this country. We're going to restructure this country. And nobody was asking, which kind of change are we talking about? Which kind of restructuring are we talking about? When Atiku came on board in 2019, that was his message. And nobody was asking him specifically, what are you going to restructure? Mr. President can as well say, yes, the change I promise you now is that the Fulani herdsmen should be allowed to operate.
Well,
yes, he can win it in court.
In my own submission of my opinion on this issue of restructuring, I think our leaders need to come out with one voice.
Yes,
all the regions. I said earlier that let us pick the important one that can unite this country. Let us look at the one that is giving us divisions. So that by the time they all come out with one voice and said, for us to be one, there's one thing that our elders or the stakeholders need to come. Some people are saying that, no, we want to go on our separate ways. Why? What are the things that wants you to go on your separate ways? That is part of what we should now, our elders or our so-called pressure groups should come together and said, the reason why you want to go, let us come back and see how we can resolve it. The reason why you want to create your own republic, let us sit down and look at it. So that this one united Nigeria, because I had somebody was talking this morning while I was driving down to the studio, and they're talking about the issue of this problem in the country. He said, an Igbo man will not wish that Nigeria to go different ways, because 80% of them, they are all over the country and they have properties. And will you now want to say that you'll be happy that you lose your property, like during the Civil War? So you now want to lose your sweat that you've been able to build, believing in one Nigeria. You now want to say so. So the man was now saying that it's the youth that are talking about we want to go our own way, but the elders, especially in the Southeast, they say they're not in support of it. So the problem now is, why can't the elders call on these young men and talk to them? They said, yes, what you are asking for is right, but do you know the implications? So my own stake on this issue is that let us ask ourselves where and what or should be done to amend that gap that is making everybody to cry foul. If it's in terms, especially most area that I believe or I assume that is people are looking at is the sharing formula, resource control. Let us control what we have in our state, which is major. Security, they might be using security as a kind of lip talk to say, oh, security. But the major, I believe, is issue of power sharing. That is, the states want to have the control over themselves, of them coming to Abuja with Agbada, with the red cap chief like the Ndebele, and some people come with the walking stick.
I live in Abuja. I don't come in.
With some people come with the walking stick with different kind of attires to come and say, Oga, please, we want chop money. We want chop money, because chop money is what they come to collect from the president. So I believe let all these groups have a kind of a meeting and look at why you want to say you want to go. So that from there, they cannot harness it. They cannot present it to the National Assembly to now look into it.
All right. The topic of restructuring would not come to an end anytime soon, because as long as we have different interest group with different demands, we'll see keep having this kind of conversation, probably even beyond 2023. The next president will see have to deal with the issue of restructuring, because just as Mr. Tony said, the youths are definitely not relenting in their hours to make sure that they say they want to grab power, with both hands, and they want to take everything away from the oldies. And the oldies are saying, you don't know what happened, years ago when you were not even born. So I think the argument will continue.
And talking
over
about
time.
interest there, sorry to cut you, Chris. I hope the Igbos, I hope their eye clear at this level and at this time, because there's another undertone about restructuring that is highly political. The true picture of that intent might not be known now. I hope the Igbos are not being played. I hope they will not come out tomorrow and start complaining. In 1999, a Yoruba man, President Olusegun Obasanjo, became the president of Nigeria. And he did it for 8 straight years uninterrupted. Yar'Adua came in, and after 2 years, death took him away. And there was a very clear resistance from the North before Goodluck Jonathan could be made the substantive president. The whole Nigerians depressed. Everybody came and said constitutionally he deserved it. We saw what the wife of the late president then, we saw her
flexing muscles
and commanding the military while we had an acting president. Now, after Goodluck Jonathan completed the remainder of the tenure, he came in 2011 and contested, and he won. I remember the slogan then, a breath of fresh air. We all supported him, and he came in. Then the partisan issue and interest, according to those who were present by Olusegun Obasanjo then, insisted that there was agreement that he was going to do one tenure. He did one tenure, and directly or indirectly, he began to drag Igbos into his tenure, change his name, added Azikiwe, and all that. Then, what do you call it?
Azikiwe has always been part of his name.
No, Ebele, my name is Ebere, which is Mercy. Ebele in Bayelsa does not mean the same Ebere as Igbo. But that's
Ebere and Ebele is different.
It's different. But
Azikiwe has always been part of his
He
name.
gave himself a psychological adoption. There was nothing wrong. Then, President Muhammadu Buhari came, even though he wasn't produced by PDP. But there's this small zonal and tribal attachment to his office. He came in 2015, did 4 years, came in again 2019, he's doing 4 years now. Even the devil in his wickedness is singing from hell that it is the turn of the Igbos to produce the president all of a sudden. Even the Igbo leaders, Yoruba leaders and other people were shouting restructuring. Olufalaye, in his recent interview to Punch, he made it clear that zoning, presidential, rotational presidency is not the solution. That restructuring. Why is everybody talking about restructuring now? That the Igbos should be positioning themselves to produce the next president, and they are dancing to that tone. I hope when the restructuring fails, after the West or the North must have grabbed the power back, I hope they will not start crying victims. It's just a question.
Okay, Ebere. I think at this point we need to go on a short break to calm our nerves down. And when we return, definitely, you're already dragging us to 2023. And the next topic that we're going to, discuss on the show this morning is.
No, I didn't just drag back to 2023. No. I'm dragging on. I drag you back to 1999. Yes.
No, so we're
if
looking
you don't
ahead.
know where you are coming from, you won't know where you are going.
So we're looking ahead. We're looking ahead from 1999. Let's move to 2023. And what we'll be talking about, Tinubu under pressure to back Osibanjo for 2023. We'll definitely dwell on this when we return from this short break. Do stay with us. This is still Good Governance Radio. It's getting intense in the studio, and you can be part of the conversation on 0913-023-6602. And you can also, stream live at www.ggr.com.ng, and our YouTube channel is Good Governance Radio. And of course, our Facebook our platform is at Good Governance Radio. You can join us in any of those social media platform. This is still Good Governance Radio, and it is the newspaper review and analysis of topical issues that appears on some of our dailies this morning. I see have in the studio Ebere Chidera, and of course Tony Ayodele. Chris Bassi is also here. Let's go for a short break, and we'll be back in just a moment. Please stay with us.
Your online radio, the new online radio that makes you happy.
The Good Governance Radio. This is the Good Governance Radio. You are listening to GGR, Good Governance Radio. Stay with us. This is the Good Governance Radio.
All right, welcome back to Good Governance Radio this morning. Of course, we are here to still look into topical issues that is eating the polity of our country, Nigeria. And this morning, we've talked extensively on restructuring, what it's all about. And of course, so many interest groups are coming out to give the list of what they want to be restructured. But then I think at this point, when the list is becoming so lengthy, the presidency is saying nothing to be restructured. But my analysts in the studio have actually given their own opinions, the sides, and of course, the twists and turns surrounding all of this. It's a discussion that will continue for months, even for years to come. But we want to quickly, take a look at some of your comments, and we want to say thank you very much for joining us on our social media platform. And I have this particular comment from Kenny Fashemore. I hope I got your name correctly. I stand for one Nigeria, but with equity sharing. Enough is enough. Otoge. Okay. Otoge.
Otoge.
I think that was what swept some people away from Kwara State a few years ago. This one coming from Adeshego Fanaike is a regular, a listener on this platform. Thank you for always joining us on the show. Let President Buhari open up specific border post. Those countries' businessmen are just helping us to solve our foreign exchange inadequacies. Republic of Benin, for example, Late custom men rearrange the exchange of goods policies and start to collect duties at the border post. Okay. I think this one definitely has nothing to do with our conversation this morning, but it touches on the economy of the country. Yes, border posts should be open. I think they're open already. I don't know if there's anyone that has not been open since the last time that the borders were closed for almost a year. Okay, you can still join conversation with us. We're still here in the studio, and of course, we quickly want to take a look at what should be expected in 2023. If you go to the southwestern part of the country, you hear swagger back and front. That slogan stands for something, and of course, the Southwest seems to be rallying support for Tinubu, but then we're getting feelers that Tinubu is under pressure to back Osinbajo for 2023. Tony, let me start with you. Do you think it will be a good judgment on the part of Tinubu to actually, give support to Osinbajo for the 2023 election instead of him, coming out to contest?
Dreams is always very big. And I was discussing with a friend over the weekend about the issue of 2023. One, I don't want to be part of people that are still talking about 2023. First, the zoning formula is to the south. Tinubu, as a person, has or have the ambition to rule this country. For you to sell your ambition to somebody else, it takes a lot. And what, as Osinbajo himself come out to say, I want to run, before the man now said, let me support you, it's people permutation. People are seeing it as a kind of the last hope or last card if Tinubu decide not to run for the president. But I think it is not only the Southwest that is having the chance to produce the next president. But if Tinubu decide to support Osinbajo, it will be very wrong. Because when you look at the calculation, there are other people from the southern part of the country, the south, the south, the southwest. These are 3 blocks. And you can remember somebody was trying to say, Tinubu is playing a card that during his birthday, he went to Kano. And one thing I know about the Jagaban is that he's a very, very calculative person. People might be thinking he has Osinbajo. Osinbajo has been his attorney general when he was the Lagos State governor. He has been his ally for so long. And it was during that election period they were looking for options that decided to say, go there. But I think there's other loyalists across the board in the South that if Tinubu decides to say, I'm not running. And again, it's people that are calling for him to come and run. Until he officially said, I want to contest for 2023 presidential election. But people are just doing, politicians and supporters, they always try to make permutations. And at the end of the day, they will not decide to say, let us get the feels of the people. Remember, if you look at the posters now, you see the Atiku and who again? That poster is just flooding the street of 2023. But these are all to feed the pulse of the nation, to feed the reaction of the people. But people are looking at, people forgot to believe that Tinubu has legs, hands, body in the whole Nigeria. So for people to believe, see, you still want to present Osinbajo, maybe even though for continuity of the Buhari government, I don't think it will be logical for Tinubu to say, let me bring back Osinbajo. Nigeria, we are about 200 million in Nigeria. So for people to say he wants to support him, I don't look at it that because the Southeast also have credible people that Tinubu can support. He has allies, he has friends across this South, and Southeast. So I believe this kind of fermentation, to me, I don't see it as something that's marketable if he decides to do that.
All right, Ebele. The president has come out to say that it will be the party that will, choose who to succeed him. But then, when you look at the trend politically in the APC, Tinubu has been in the news, and a few other card-carrying members of the APC. Most of them are even still serving ministers under the cabinet of the President Muhammadu Buhari. But then let's just, restrict ourselves or reduce ourselves to these two individuals. Between Tinubu and Osinbajo, who do you think, if the APC are to actually pick a candidate, who looks more viable to succeed Buhari come 2023?
Basi,
the viable candidate.
Basi, you are setting my conscience up this morning, but I refuse to patronize what I call political insensitivity. You see, Nigerians are not interested in this discussion now, even though we are throwing it into this discussion, into this conversation, because it's in the news, it's in the public. We didn't manufacture it. Before, when Goodluck Jonathan was in power, the greatest opposition came from Lagos. We used to see Tunde Bakare at the Ojota there, Ghanaian Park, Tinubu them, all of them occupy Nigeria, and they were shouting. Nigerians weren't asking for too much then. Now Nigerians are not asking for too much. Tinubu has been silent for a very long time over the killings, over the insecurity, over so many things. Now the president is saying there's nothing to restructure. That is wrong. I have started by saying, if you don't know what to restructure, start from the police. If you don't know what to restructure, start from the judiciary. That we are now saying, okay, they need autonomy and all those stuff. Now, if we go into this discussion, what has been his impact for the past 6 years by theoretical or roundtable discussion? We can say that Tinubu facilitated the coming in of President Muhammadu Buhari, because President Muhammadu Buhari had always contested independently on the platform of CPC, is it ACN? No, MPP and all that.
Yes.
And he had always pulled his triggers. Now, political triggers, not gone anyway. Now, this man, you brought him into power. A lot of things have been going wrong. We have not heard this man talk like a leader over issues. He has decided to be silent. So I don't know what to discuss about his interest. If he has impressed me by even Olusegun Obasanjo, who is no longer...
Are you making reference? Are you referring to Osinbajo or...
I'm referring to Tinubu.
Okay.
I'm saying that I have no interest in his interest now. I don't want to discuss it because the role he played in bringing President Muhammadu Buhari, he has not defended it, either positively or negatively. Smart Adeyemi from Kogi West stood up the other day on the floor of the Senate and cried like a baby over the insecurity in the country. Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the wife of the very man you want me to discuss his interest, stood up and asked Smart Adeyemi, are you now a PDP member? So anybody that talks about the insecurities, the killings, the kidnappings and everything in Nigeria has become a whaler or a PDP member. What an insensitivity. The other day, the same woman called, during the constitutional review in Lagos, the same woman called somebody who wanted a talk. And in that video, I heard somebody saying, oh, you are calling her a talk and you will return here to solicit our vote and possibly think you can become the first lady of this country. Somebody is already accusing them in that line. So I want to stay with the emotions and the sentiments of Nigeria. I don't want to discuss 2023. Whoever is going to come out 2 years, and let me even ask you, how many people will be alive if things continue this way? If we don't defend our territories, if we don't defend our schools, if we don't protect our high institutions, if we don't defend our highways and protect them from the kidnappers and everything, how many people will be alive in 2023 to see whether it's going to be Tinubu and Osibanjo?
Okay, Ebere has decided not to, go into this discussion, but then it is something that we'll have to keep talking about. 2023 is just around the corner, Chris, and just as Tony said, posters of potential candidates are already flooding the street of.
You know, at times when you are in a tense atmosphere, you just have to look at the woman angle to
calm down, to calm.
See, we all know what is happening in the country. Like you rightly said, or like you made mention, I believe, you see, when people are talking about looking at Tinubu as de facto of this Buhari presidency, it's a collective of minds. You see, we give too much that look that he single-handedly. No, it's a collective.
If he did not, sorry to cut you, if the Southwest didn't collapse their interest into merging with APC and giving Muhammad Buhari that candidate, he was never going to emerge. In 2015, he put 12 million votes under CPC with less votes from West, East.
That is why I'm saying that the man also have his own structure.
He had a structure.
The only thing he needed was just to add some few states.
No, we didn't take that away, but we were saying that the likes of Tinubu activated the interest of the Westerners to admit the interest of President Muhammad Buhari for the merging.
Now, like you said, like I know on few occasions, the Jagaban Bola Ahmed Tinubu has always make one or two statements on issue in the nation. Mind you, you see, everybody has his own style. I'm not supporting or I'm not saying he has not, but he needs to do more. The way they were condemning, maiming the PDP government, their voices is a little bit low because they're in power. But all the same, there's no way we will not look at the future of this nation. 2023 is just close by. Like you rightly said, it's only God that knows who is going to see that job. But we don't wish anybody dead.
But people are dying already. It's not a prophecy.
No, what I'm saying is
people are dying
what I believe is that we also have to look at the other side of the nation. Who is going to take over? That can restructure and that can give us the dividends of democracy.
Definitely.
It's also very important because the discussion has to start now. We have to start looking at who can we trust again. No matter the party, we are not talking about APC, PDP,
of course.
We are looking at the personality now. We want to we should take away our mindset from the so-called the known. Let us look at the unknown and make it known so that they can get the best from us. They can give us the best of democracy.
Tony,
my own perception is we also have to also wish that somebody, not the one that has Mr. so-called integrity, and we all voted for him. This time around, we should think deep before we say.
Unfortunately, we are still revolving our thoughts to the same people we know.
You know why I brought this particular issue? Because there seems to be a clash of interest between Tinubu and Osibanjo. Ordinarily, there are so many other, potential candidates. There are so many other names in the APC that will possibly popped up. The likes of Amechis of this world, Ngige of this world, and of course, Yaya Bello. It has become obvious that he's definitely interested. But these two that seems to be the servant and the master. If I should use that, two people.
That's why I was telling Tony that you can't separate this interest. That in 2015, Osibanjo, I think, if I must confess, apart from the fact that I lived in Lagos and his mother's house used to be somewhere in Obanikoro, that was even why I got to know him. From nowhere, this man came up, courtesy from Tinubu's dynasty. Now, we are saying that there were discussions then. There were interest then that, okay, if we're going to support you, you're going to go with this man. It's either the man has been there as a stooge or the man has been there as the real image. We don't know the discussion. Whether Tinubu said, okay, you are going to go with this man. He is going to represent our interest and he is going to activate the presence of the West until 2023 when I want to come on board. It's just a permutation. We do not know. But what I'm saying now, like I responded from the beginning, is that interest is too stinging in the ears of Nigerians now. Yes, I agree with Tony. We must look at the future. But unfortunately, again, we're still looking into the past. Because if we are still holding on anybody or the same group of people that we have been complaining about what they have done in our political journey, if they still remain our consolidated option, we have Fela Duro Toyede from the West, he's a Yoruba man. If nobody is talking about those neutral guys who are coming in with fresh ideas, if nobody is talking about Kingsley Moghalu of this world, nobody is talking about, you understand what I'm saying?
Baby, that's why I said
it get as they do me.
That's why I said,
even though I know be peaceful.
That's why I said we need to look for the unknown.
Okay.
In the next 23 elections.
Okay.
We should look at the youth.
Unknown indeed, because the youth seems to, really want to, come into power. They want to have a sense of belonging. But then, Ebele just mentioned Fela Duroti, and
even Yaya Bello.
Probably we'll just get to hear about him once again. Few months to the election, because the youths are not, we are not up and doing. They are not up and doing. Kingsley Moghalu just came up a few weeks ago to show interest. The fella probably will come maybe in 2020 or a few months to the election, and at the end of the day, Sowore will come out, and at the end of the day, they all end up having not less than 30,000 or 20,000 votes.
Because of our attitude for them. Mm-hmm. Because of our attitude. Because if we...
But are they doing enough?
They are doing enough. Kingsley Moghalu was a banker. Doing enough. Possibly in money don't finish. Remember this thing happened to Peter Obi when he came out. The money he had, he couldn't share the money amongst the people. He wasn't throwing money around. So people believe...
But don't you think that the likes of Kingsley Moghalu and Fela Duroti should start somewhere? Shouldn't they have started from their House of Assembly, from their local government chairman, and contest election? Would they just want to jump? Do they have the structure? We're talking about Buhari now that has been contesting since 1999 from one political party, and actually had a very, very solid structure and was able to collapse another structure to actually, gather as much vote as possible to win election in Nigeria. We're talking about Nigeria.
Chris,
we're not talking about a section of the country.
Let me tell you this. You are pushing them into the tunnel of political processes that will suffocate them. The problem we have in Nigeria most often is not even about the personalities or the candidates. It's about the party system. So if you are going to say, go and become the local government chairman, go and do this, that's when the elders will say, now we get destruction. Now we get destruction. They can win elections. If me and you, if we don't see anything right in bringing back, when we were shouting articulate, were they not there? Didn't we ask Atiku, but you were there for 8 years? Is it not time to say, okay, you were there for 8 years?
All right, Ebele, because of our time, we just have to leave it here. Maybe it's definitely a conversation that will keep engaging ourselves as long as we looking ahead to 2023. But then we can't go without actually touching on one or two security issues in the country. Notably, among them is the kidnapping students right there in Kebbi State, and we've actually read a lot of positive news coming from Kebbi State and how the government have been able to handle the situation, and of course the success recorded by our troops. And a few of these students and teachers have been rescued over the weekend. So let's have your view on these. A lot of people seems to give commendation to the Kebbi State Governor Atiku Bagudu for the way he has handled the whole process. The school in question is the federal government college, but then the governor was the first to get to the school premises and speak with the parents, and of course even the parent. For the first time, I've listened to the parent from other kidnapping school, but this one they seems to have this huge confidence on the government, on the security agency's ability to actually rescue the girl. But then the shocking, story coming out is that the bandits are using the students as a shield. And of course, any attempts by the security to forcefully, rescue them could result to collateral damage. But what was your own assessment overall?
You see, this brings us back to if we should restructure. It brings us back, because kudos to the military, kudos to what they did, but we are not solving the problems. I don't mean to be ungrateful. I don't mean to be pessimistic. This is not the solution. How did we get here? This is the question nobody is answering. Chris, we have over 70 unmanned land borders in Nigeria. Most of those places, when you go there, you will just see bamboo tree, bamboo stick. Welcome to Nigeria. Welcome to the other country. Or goodbye from Nigeria. Welcome to the other country. Just bamboo tree.
I saw one in Niger State. They just use it to cross it.
Good. Now, in Niger State, like you brought, Niger State, people do not know, has the largest landmass in Nigeria. It cuts across Benin Republic to the west, Togo, up to Togo, through the Huara border and all that. Now, go and see what you see as a security post there. What is the structure of our immigration? How do we welcome people into Nigeria as a country? What is the strength of our passport and identification? I did my national ID in 2013, November till now. I have not seen it. The last time they now told me, oh, NIN. But there are people, it was alleged that there are people who were getting their cards instantly. I don't want to go into details. Now, going to this incident, KB, this is not the remaining school in KB State. The other ones, like Tony pointed our attention to the other day, most of them, they only fence the entrance. They don't fence the entire school. More will happen. Not because the military are not ready to save the situation, but they are helpless because of the landmass, because of the structure. So the question is, these bandits who operate in Nigeria, if they stay outside the country, how do they come in? Are we a whole America? They have fenced the axis of Mexico to cut off the drug warlords, and they're doing that towards Canada. What are we exactly doing to protect our boundaries? Until I hear that specific, because it's like the bandits are living in Nigeria here. If these men in green uniform, talking about the military, could go into the bush of Olu to kill the ikonso of a guy and pick him up and we clap for him, Sambisa Forest is within reach. Babajide Kolade Otitojo, I can quote him, he's a renowned journalist. On his platform, he has boasted to the whole Nigerians on TV that he has related with the bandits. That's a journalist. He knows where the bandits are. Gumi knows where the bandits are. Why are we not taking them out from their place of domicile? Why do we only stay back and fight them when they take our girls? This is the security questions I don't know who will give me the answer.
All right, indeed, the security question. So probably we'll still leave it to the security, personnel to answer that. But Tony, you want to add something? The troops have actually recorded success. I think they said so far they've killed almost close to 100 bandits, and that brings to mind the numbers of these bandits. Is it a whole village that decided to join banditry business? And because the number is actually scary, really. So what do you think the Nigerian government and even the state government, because just yesterday, bandits actually attacked the police station in, Katsina in Benue State. So we did say, or we keep saying that there is no state in the country that is safe. So what should be the proactive measure from the government? Ebele has touched it. Maybe, you could have a perspective different from what he has said.
When you're talking about every day, every night, per second, per hour, what comes out to the mouth of every Nigerian is we are insecure. Security is a problem. But I always have one thing to say. You are your number one security. Are you with me? The truth is, these children, these bandits, like Ebele said, they are living among us. If they are, where are they living? Two, I quote and I repeat and I said, the Niger State governor said there are some people in his government that are sabotage. If he knows them, bring them out. Federal government said they have the list of the sponsors.
They've not published it.
Till today, they've not. Maybe if there has been a kind of measure or publishing their names, maybe other people would now go back and said, we are not being exposed. The issue in Kebbi, why you found out that the governor was able to proactively get himself involved. Like some other states, you find out that it is all about newspaper talking. And the man said he didn't negotiate. But one thing that we all need to know is there are a lot of intelligence reports that is within the reach of the military. But why are these people targeting the schools now, federal schools? It is not left for the government to ask why. Then secondly, every day they are kidnapping people. It's because this involves our children. This involves young future Nigerians. That is why we are taking measures. But the architecture, the security architecture of this country needs to be overhauled. So that at every point in time, there's a time that somebody was asking, let us have a security line, number, code that you can call in case you have any emergency. And then once the thing is published, maybe once or twice or in TV, it's off. The NOA, National Orientation Agency of Nigeria, how are they talking about? How are they informing the public? Security starts from you, knowing your neighbor. But I just believe that let us appreciate there are a lot of people that are still there, which share this thing. Then we look at the workforce, both the military, the police, the Air Force. What is the total number?
Okay, Ebele, in just a few seconds, I want to you to react to the stand of the governor of Kebbi State not to pay ransom. El-Rufai started, he said he was not going to pay. Niger State governor said no ransom. And the Kebbi State governor is also saying no ransom, no matter what, even when the life of the students are at risk. So what's your take on that?
When El-Rufai made that statement, there was no positive attempt. It was just an angry statement to declare that he was never going to patronize criminals. We can understand. But the Kebbi State governor is on the right track already. He has done something to prove that I can get it right.
Without paying ransom.
Without paying ransom. So we can listen to him. So that is just my response.
Okay. And that's a perfect response. Well, our listeners, we really want to thank you so very much for staying with us on today's edition of the newspaper review and the analysis of topical issues on the various pages of our newspaper this morning. And let's take this final comment before we call it a wrap. This one is coming from Machuku Chukwuemeka. I say, young man accusing Tinubu is just engaging political fighting. He's talking for himself. Hasn't raised one cogent reason. Eric Marol, precipitated by deeper sentiment, not tacit facts. Did Nigeria vote for Buhari in 2015? Well, that's a comment, directed
to me. It's an
to
opinion.
one of us in the studio. Is an opinion. Well, thank you very much, Chukwuemeka, for your comments. We really, really do appreciate. All right, this is where we're going to be calling it a wrap on today's edition of our program. Tomorrow is going to be another day, and on behalf of Oluwatobi Akimbo, who has been pressing the button just to make sure that everything goes smoothly in the studio, we want to sincerely thank you, Toby, and Ebele.
Thank you very much for listening. If you are not there, we can be here.
Well, continue listening to DGR per second per day. We'll be there for you. Do have a great day.
All right, my name is Chris Bassi. Join us tomorrow morning at 8:30 for another round of newspaper review and analysis of topical issues. Till then, do have a great day and bye for now.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Let's go. This is your radio, your station.
GGR, Good Governance Radio.